Hello guys, my name is Ruben and this is a tutorial on the early D6 trick. This trick is insanely tough. It's frustrating and it's probably the hardest trick I've ever learned in any speedrun. But it saves 3.5 minutes, so it's very powerful in any percent in this game. It also saves time in no Hinox warp, any percent hero mode, and probably in 100% as well. But I just want to warn you guys before you learn this. As long as you're not a top speedrunner in this game and you really want to push like really close to world record or even get the world record, I would not recommend go for this. But I'm just gonna share what I've found and what I do to be able to do this trick. I've come up with somewhat of a setup that makes the trick a lot more consistent, at least for me. So it's not 100% consistent, I'm not saying that, but it's just a lot better. The only downside to what I do is that it is slower compared to some other strats, definitely. Now, if this video is helpful, please like and subscribe to the channel. Now, let's go into how I do it. Okay guys, so here is a painting that I made of the invisible walls you're gonna approach in this trick. Here are the stairs where you're gonna do the air climb, and I'm gonna go into in depth how to get the jump from the stairs to be able to land on this invisible wall, and then you're gonna try to maneuver yourself into this corner. And in my opinion, that is probably the hardest part of this trick, just getting into that first corner. So what can go wrong when you're trying to land on this wall? Well, if you land a little bit too far to the right, like here, you're just gonna void out. And if you land too far to the left, well, you're just gonna fall down into the water. But once you land in this position, so another note with this trick is that the camera is never gonna be 100% consistent. It's always gonna be a tiny bit different. So the camera is not a consistent like visual cue. You can't really look for visual cues in this trick. It's just not possible unless you have some sort of a dumb setup where you set up the camera to be the exact same every time, but that is going to be very slow, at least in my opinion. I don't think that's possible to do. So you're just going to have to get used to not using visual cues. So when you land on this invisible wall, you're gonna have to know with experience if you're a little bit further to the right or a little bit further to the left. And with experience, as I said, you are gonna develop kind of a feel to where you are. And once you know, let's say you landed a little bit more to the right, then you're gonna try to wiggle yourself a little bit up left, basically. Very small, careful movements up left. And you're always going to hold shield, because if you don't hold shield when you're actually entering this corner, you're just going to fall off or void out or something. So you need to hold shield. Well, once you land on top of this wall, you need to hold up / hold shield, and based on where you are, either if you are in the middle, on the right side or on the left side, you're gonna have to wiggle either up left or up right or just straight up to get into this corner, the first corner. So now, once you are in that corner, you want to dash downwards. And I have some sort of a setup to just be able to get into the same position every time. Because in the beginning, when I started doing this trick, I kind of just YOLO'd it. I just started dashing downwards, and I hoped that I was able to, get somewhere around here, stop, jump over here, then wiggle myself into this corner, then dash all the way like over here, jump to this wall, and wiggle myself into this corner, then dash all the way like down here, and then jump all the way to this corner. And then just jump down to this invisible wall here. And then just further slide down. The thing though is that your position when you're entering this corner, your position can either be a little bit more to the left, a little bit more to the right, in the middle, and everything in between, right? And that actually affects the whole trick all the way through. And that is honestly what made the trick so inconsistent for me in the beginning. Because I just didn't know why I failed. So I started to develop a setup that makes me be in the same position in this corner every single time. Or more or less the same position. What happens then is that if I do the same thing down here, I dash down here, stop, then I jump here, and I wiggle myself into this corner. Then I do a setup here again to make sure that I'm in a good position again. Once I've done that, I do 8 dashes to get here. Sorry. And then I jump to this position, wiggle myself into this corner, and then I do a setup again to make sure that I don't mess up. Because what can happen is that, let's say you're in the first corner here, and you're in a, that was not a good circle. Let's say you're in the first corner here, and you're in a bad position. You start dashing down 8 times. You get to this point. What can happen is that when you do the jump to get to here, you can hit an invincible wall that makes you stop here. And if that happens, it's over. You're just gonna fall down. Or you can be a tiny bit too far up, which makes you fall into the ground here or here. So to avoid that happening, I'm doing this setup every single time. And it actually, unless I mess up something, it works. So that's the good part about the setup. So that's I just kind of wanted to explain what happens. So you want to be in this corner, do a setup that I'm gonna show you, dash down 8 times, be around here, and then you want to, I'm also gonna go into how to jump on these walls, because that is kind of finicky. But once you're in that position, dashed 8 times, you want to jump here, you want to slash to the left, and eventually, I'm going to show you how I do it, but I turn down left a little bit, and then I inch myself into this corner. Then I do a setup again, and I dash 8 times to this position, I jump down to right here, slash upwards. I do an up right angle for 2 like pumps. I'm gonna go into that in depth. And then I eventually reach this corner. And then I'm gonna do 19 dashes until I'm down here. And this is actually the easiest one to see because there's a visual cue as well. And eventually when you have done 19 dashes to be here, you just jump to the right, slash, wiggle yourself a little bit up right, a tiny bit up right, and you're gonna reach this corner. And once you're in this corner, you've done the hardest part of the trick. This wall or this long slide at the very end might look very hard, but it actually isn't. It's the easiest part of the trick, in my opinion. Okay, so now you kind of know what the trick should look like. Let's go into the trick itself in the game. Okay, so now we're going to do this in game. And first of all, you want to do an air climb. And I'm just going to assume that you know how to do those. You should be very consistent at them before you're approaching this trick. So what you want to do is that you want to be at the very tip of the invisible ladder. And to know if you are or not, we're going to use a visual cue. We're going to look at Link's shadow and Link's left ear on his shadow. And Link's left ear should be all the way into the tree on the down left there. If you can't see the tree on the down left, what you can do, you can stand at the very edge of the ladder on the ground, and you can do dash pumps, and the camera will change downwards, which will help you see the tree if you can't see it. And when you are at the very tip, when Link's left ear is all the way into the tree, you want to hold up and jump at the same time. And hopefully, if you were high enough, you can reach the tip or land at the tip of the invincible wall. It is very hard, but to get into that very first corner, but with enough practice, you're gonna get it down eventually. I didn't make it the first time there, so I'm gonna retry it. So you want to do an upright jump, and as soon as you land on that corner, on top of the invisible wall, you want to jump again and hold down right. And hopefully, if you did everything correctly, you're gonna land on top of the invincible wall. And as soon as you land on top of the invincible wall, you want to hold up and slash. Here again, you can see me that I'm inching my way up because I want that Link's left ear on the shadow to be all the way into the tree. And maybe a tiny bit more sometimes, depending on the camera. Then I'm jumping here, upright, I land, hold down right and jump again. And as soon as I now land on the invisible wall, I'm going to hold up and slash. And I'm going to wiggle myself into the corner further up here. And now comes the setup immediately. I inch myself upwards, and what I'm looking for is when Link falls down. So look at this. I'm walking a little bit upwards, a little bit more. And there he fell down. Now I know I'm into a good position. But I'm also a little bit too far right. I want to go a little bit more to the left. But if I go too far, I'm going to fall into the water, obviously. So I don't want to go too far, but I want to be a little bit more to the left. And now we're going to start dashing downwards. And you want to hold, I didn't mention that, but you want to hold shield all the time when you're on top of this invisible wall. If you let go of shield, you're going to void out immediately. So now we're going to start dashing. And now we're going to watch for his pumps, basically. That one does not count. But now he starts to run, right? So this is 1. And 2. And we're going to do 8 of this. 3. And once we are in that position of 8, 4, we're gonna do a jump on top of this invisible wall. And I'm gonna try to explain the jump. So what you're gonna do, you're gonna hold shield, because, oh, I didn't mention that. When you wanna stop now, you wanna slash. The only input you wanna do is slash. Once you reach 8, you wanna slash. So I think this is 6 or 7, right? Yeah, there I slash. And you saw I didn't slash immediately, and that is also important. And now what you want to do is you want to make the jump. And to jump on this on top of these invisible walls is not as easy as it may look. What you want to do is that you hold shield, right? And you want to slash, and immediately after you have slashed, you want to let go of shield and jump and then hold the direction. If you do anything wrong here, you're just going to void out immediately. Okay, so again, you want to do the jump. And as soon as you land on that next invisible wall, you want to jump to the right, obviously, as you see. And as soon as you land on that next invisible wall, you want to hold left and slash. Now you want to angle yourself a little bit down left, because we want to get a little bit further left, or down on the wall, I guess. And as soon as you see Link are like pumping here, as soon as you see 2 pumps, I'm gonna straighten myself out like I did there, to the left again. Now I'm gonna wiggle a little bit up left to be able to slide into the next corner. As you can see here, I wiggle myself a tiny bit. And there we go. Now we're in this corner. So we're gonna do a setup again, and I'm gonna inch myself into the corner, to the left here, until Link falls down a little bit. There we go. And actually now I'm gonna inch myself a little bit more to the right, like 2 inches. Like 1 and 2. It just makes it more consistent, this trick. I don't know why. I can't explain this. And now we're gonna do 8 dashes. That one doesn't count. 1. Well, dash pumps, I mean, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now on the 8th one, you don't want to slash immediately. You want to wait a little bit. So 8, and you want to wait a little bit and then slash. Yeah, like that. And now we're going to do the jump again. The jump is the same every time. You want to slash, let go of shield, jump, hold the direction. And as soon as you land on the wall, you want to hold up and slash. And as soon as we have slashed and are holding up, I'm going to angle myself a little bit upright and do 2 pumps. So you see, a little bit upright, 1 pump. 2. Now I'm going to straighten myself out. Well, I guess with 3 pumps, because the first pump was so early. Now I'm going to straighten myself out. And I'm going to wiggle myself up left. If you do too many pumps to the upright, you're just going to void out because you're too far right. So you got to be careful. So now with an up left input, I'm inching myself into this corner. And you want to hold shield all the way through, right? Because if you don't hold shield, you won't land in this corner. Now we're in this corner. We're going to do a setup again. I'm going to inch myself upwards until Link falls down again. Like that, he fell down. Now with experience, I know that I don't have to go either left or right here. I'm in a pretty good position. Maybe a little bit too far, a little bit towards the right side, but it's okay. Now we're gonna do 19 dashes. That was 1. We're gonna do 19 dashes. And as soon as you're in that position, I'm gonna explain to you what to do. Okay, so now we're closing in. This is 18. And now we can actually see Link's shield is changing color, which is a good visual cue. That was 19. So now we're gonna slash. Not immediately though. Then we're gonna do a jump to the right again. And as soon as you land on this wall, you wanna slash, hold right and slash. And now you wanna wiggle yourself very gently upright. And hold shield. And hold shield, obviously. And if you do that correctly, you will land in this corner. Like that. And now you want to jump again. Downwards. And then you're going to land on this long slide of an invincible wall. And as I said, this is probably the easiest part of this trick. It's not easy, but it is the easiest part. Now you want to look at Link's left foot. Or if you look right at the screen, it will be the foot on the right on point of view. But it is Link's left foot. And you want to line it up or look at it how it does beside the water, basically. If Link's left foot is all the way into the water, it's a very high risk that you will fall in. But if it's too far onto the wall, basically. Here I'm pretty far out in the water. I'm probably gonna adjust here. Yeah. So all you want to do when you land on this wall, you just want to hold down. And you want to, you know, actually tap down right to be able to start your slide. Like here, so I was too far right. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna inch myself a little bit down left, and then I'm gonna tap like down right to be able to start to slide again. And now you can actually let go of everything. If Link's left foot is not too far into the water, it's gonna work. But if it's too far in on the wall, basically, then you're either gonna fall off or you're not gonna land in this corner at the very end here. So landing in this corner is not extremely precise, but it is decently easy to miss, I would say. And you want to hold shield, obviously. And as soon as you land in this corner, you want to hold up and dash while holding shield. Now you don't want to let go of shield. You land in the corner like this. You want to hold up, dash. And as soon as you are approaching the back door of D6, you want to stop your dash with a sword slash. And basically what I'm doing here, I'm dashing until I'm a little bit above that palm tree on the island. And then I slash to stop it. I was a little bit lower, so I walk a little bit further up. And here we want to do a jump to the right. And optimally, you want to land on the chest, because then you can easily grab the bombs and the arrows when you're on top of the chest. So if you did that jump correctly, you're going to land a little bit on the invisible wall, and then you're going to land on the chest. Now you can just hold left and do a spin slash, hold left and walk all the way into the wall. And when you spin slash, you're going to pick up both of them. And congrats, guys. You made it. You got the early D6 trick. Now, I'm just going to wish you good luck. And don't give up. It is very hard, but keep on fighting and you'll get it. Okay guys, that is the end of the tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. I am going to mention that the Lime Films also has a tutorial on this trick. His method is a little bit different. It's also faster, so I'm gonna link it in the description. And as a bonus, I'm gonna show you Owen Splat's method. It's basically the fast method of early D6. I do not have a tutorial on that. It is insanely tough to do. I don't know anybody else than him that has actually done it. But the fast method that Owen Splat does saves, compared to my method, like 35 seconds or something. So I'm just gonna show it off here. And again, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys.